Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show action edition, where we feature feedback from you, our listeners. I'm here with my old buddy Larry. And Larry, now come on, tell us what's been going on.
Well, John, it's been a beautiful fall week here in North Georgia, and I actually have been doing some of the cleanup from my flood. This is not we talked about my flooding back on the Halloween show, but anyway, this is the outdoor flood. So I had a whole lot of I told you there was a river in my my side yard, I guess, where you could have taken a canoe down it, and that is not an exaggeration. I could have taken a canoe down the white water that was in my side yard. So anyway, I have been out actually cleaning up the mess in my side yard and up and above my house and stuff like that too. Just a lot of debris, like looking at water. And it's funny, John, water is actually the topic of this show.
Yeah, it is. And so what I've been, if I was asked what I was doing this week, I was...
John, what have you been doing this week?
Larry, very good straight man. I was over at at a client's place, and I was doing some wood repair on some trim that he needed done, and he says to me, he says,
"Hey," question, didn't he? Yes.
Yeah. He says, "Hey, come on in here." He goes, "I want to show you something." And he throws the water bill at me, and it was $12,000. And I said, whoa. And so we talked about that. And so back and forth, he went, with the county to try to figure this out. And the county put it back on him, saying, well, going to have to get a certification from a plumber that, you don't have a leak. And if you have a leak, you're going to have to get it fixed. And I don't know if they're going to adjust this bill. I don't know what they're going to wind up doing.
When you told me this story, right, me being a math guy, I started to figure out how much water did he use, or did he supposedly use, to get to $12,000 worth of a bill, right, John? So you and I, we did some quick math, and we came out with what, like 1 million gallons?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was a lot. Okay, it was a lot, and that precipitated a conversation about, wait a minute, how fast and how many gallons per minute, can you really get out of a three-quarter pipe, And we know here that our city water is somewhere around 100 to 110 psi.
Right.
So that's when you and I were looking this up, and basically based on the size of the pipe, it was 27 gallons a minute?
I think it was 23, but it was
23.
Yeah, it
23.
was in the mid-20s per minute, gallons per minute. If you took a 3/4 inch pipe and you just let it run, just straight away, right?
Right. So I guess the bottom line here, folks, is that that's a lot of water. Okay, $12,000 at that rate, that's a lot of water. Well, it's hard to fathom that that kind of water was escaping without a sign of it, without any detection. So he had some plumbers over, and they took a look, and they spent like 4 hours. They couldn't find it. They took I guess they had the leak detection out there, and the coincidence here is that, Larry, right before the show, my client calls me up and said that they found the leak. I mean, right when we're doing this. And I said, really? And he said he's got a break somewhere into his house, even though he's still got water in the house, but he was losing 20 gallons a minute.
20 gallons a minute. I mean, our question always was, where did all that's a lot. Folks, think about this. If you took 21-gallon milk jugs and poured it out on the street, how much of your street would be wet?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a huge amount of water when you think about it. And in order to get to that $12,000, I mean, his 3/4 inch pipe ran for more than a month. straight away at 20 gallons a minute.
Exactly. But it was ironic that that we got that close in that calculation that it was going to take about that much, and sure enough, it wound up that much.
Hey, John, there's one word that tells about that. You know what the word is? College. Best 7 years of my life. But anyway,
yeah, right. You'd like to go back there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. It'd be great fun. What, that or work all day? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
Keep going. Anyway, sorry, we digress. But yeah, so what, folks? So I'm gonna. Can I tell two quick stories myself?
Yes.
Okay. So to this line. So one is my lovely wife and I. We have had a condo. We're in the process of trying to sell it right now. But we had a condo, and they installed. They, meaning the homeowners association, the condominium development, decided to. We used to be on this program where they took the whole water bill and split it up. Well, I hated that because we're two people, we don't use a lot of water, so I hated that. So anyway, they decided to go to individual meters that they put into each unit, which was really cool because there's wireless technology, blah blah blah. I don't want to get into all of those details, except for this: our water meter was showing that we were using 18,000 gallons. Like one day it'd be plus 18,000. 3 days later it'd be minus 7,000. And I'm like, number one, how do you get a minus reading on a water meter? And then the second thing is that this is in the COVID times, and we had moved out of that condo and turned the water off. So like they're showing me these like 18,000 gallon days, and I'm like, that's impossible. They're like, oh, you have a leak. I'm like, no, I don't have a leak. I've turned my water off at the meter. It's off before the meter. So something's wrong with your meter. Well, they didn't believe us, and the onus of proof fell on us to prove that they're wrong. Long story short on this one, they wired the meter wrong. They had the positive to the negative and the negative to the positive, and it was screwing up the electronics and giving them erroneous features, a.k.a. the negative water flow, because you can't have negative water flow. It doesn't work, right? One-way valve called a pressure relief valve, right? We just talked about it. Mm-hmm. So there's that. So that's the first one. Second one is I had a rental house, and my client comes to me, or my tenant, but client, he's still my client, comes to me, he says, my water bill's like $200 a month. And I thought, okay, so the first question is, well, are you taking a lot of showers? How many people, you've only got 3 people living here, right? He's like, yeah, we've only got 3 people. I go, are you taking a lot of showers? Da-da-da. I go, are you noticing any water anywhere in the house? And he said, no. And then I said to him, I go, so I did some investigation, and I walked around the house, and I found where the water came into the house, and I actually noticed that it was a little soft right over the top of where the pipe came in. So I took my shovel out and I started digging down, and sure enough, it was a leak. Now this was a leak; it wasn't a broken water pipe, but it was a leak, and it was again in a 3-quart pipe. It was about the size of a nail head, but it was the ground was wet. As I dug deeper, I dug down. The water line was probably 2 feet underground. As I got down about a foot underneath, it turned into slop, into mud. Oh yeah! And I dug it out and dug it out and I found it. I shut the water off at the thing. I fixed it. His water bill went to about $20 a month. And so that's the purpose of this show. Is we're talking about, check your water bills, folks. Look and see what seems normal, what doesn't seem normal, because don't get stuck with a $12,000 water bill. Don't get stuck with a $200 water bill unless you're using that much, right?
Well, and we talked about this before, and it's a good point, Larry, that you bring up, is that when you check your water bill and kind of put a baseline down on your water bill. Kind of know what that is. We talked about it before the show. Hey man, what are you paying? What do you generally? Probably $60 a month or $80, or whatever it might be. But it can be very consistent. And then if there's like a spike, it's going to alert you to something's going on.
Something's going on. Now, if you filled the swimming pool that month, guess what?
Yeah,
there's your answer.
I was going to say that one thing that caught up with me that I didn't know was going on was a leaking toilet. And I talked about before, and I don't want to rehash it, but it really affected our water bill, and I didn't even know it
because it runs 24/7.
I didn't hear it.
Right.
Usually I hear it. I didn't hear it. I didn't even realize it. And then just one day by happenstance, I caught it. But it really, because my wife was saying, "Wow, the bill has really gone up on the water over the last couple of months." Not astronomically, but enough to, send, the antennas go up, right? Something's up.
Yeah.
So, it was more than, hey, I just washed a dog, or something like that.
A $10 shift in your water bill, if your rates haven't gone up, is pretty significant. If you think about it.
That's right.
Like $10 a month, right? It's pretty significant. And, our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation. Well, this is a case where it's twofold for me. I've told people this. I'm an environmentalist. Like, I really believe in protecting the environment. Water is one of the things that potable water, meaning water we can drink, is really, really critical. Like, it's second to air for life. Like, you need water. Like, you need air first, but you need water second. And anyway, it's really important that we take care of our water systems. We shouldn't waste our water if we can help it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into it. But that is something that this is a way. And to your point, John, you stopped a simple leak that was easy. Probably cost you $20 for a new rebuild kit on your toilet, right? And a half an hour's worth of time. Boom, boom. There you go. No more water. You just saved yourself $10 a month. Wait, $10 a month is how much a year, John?
Yeah,
$120.
That's college.
That's right. So with that, do we have anything else, John?
No, I think it's a good tip. I think it's a good tip to kind of put a stake in the ground on your water bill, because using my client here as an example is just to make sure that you don't get caught with some of these type of issues.
Yep, got it. Hey, folks, don't forget to join our Facebook group. That's at Handyman Pros. Join in the conversation. Send us emails, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com, and follow us on Twitter at Handyman Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this podcast and have derived some value from it, here's 4 things you can do. 1, tell your friends about this podcast. 2, hit subscribe on your podcast player. While you're there, leave us a review. 3, subscribe to our newsletter by going to handymanprosradioshow.com and click on the subscribe button. We'll inform you of upcoming events, shows, and give you actionable tips for maintaining your home and property. And 4, send us an email with your questions to questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. That's handymanprosradioshow.com. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.